Another fun week in KFC SuperCoach. It was pretty tough for some. Hopefully you dodged most of those bullets. I think we all got a couple. Let's look at round 9 and who was hot and who was cold. One of the first things that jumped out at me when I started looking at the KFC SuperCoach site and the player prices was that Christian Petracca has gone past Clayton Oliver. He's actually $1,000 more expensive than him now, and that's because he's on an absolute hot streak, 148 points on the weekend against Hawthorn, and that just continued a great run that he's on at the moment. He's got a 3-round average of 145, and for the season he's now averaging 118.6, which makes him the 4th best midfielder and the number 6 player overall in KFC SuperCoach. His lowest score for the year is 97, so that hot streak's been going pretty much ever since round 1. Absolutely fantastic pick if you got him. 13% of teams are enjoying this great run of scores from Christian Petracca. Nick Dacos has been a bit of a roller coaster the past couple of weeks. He's had some pretty rough treatment from opposition teams, but the Giants haven't really tagged this year, and they didn't tag Nick, and that was exactly what we wanted for KFC SuperCoachers. He ran around and picked up 41 disposals, just getting heaps of the footy like he always does, covering heaps of the MCG. 78% efficiency this week, and just the 1 tackle, but that doesn't really matter for him. That's just not the essence of his game. He just gets heaps of possessions and uses the ball super well. He started at 502,000, went all the way up to 644,000 in about 6 weeks, and now he's dropped 67,000 in the past 3 rounds. But I think this is about where he'll settle at, which makes him one of the best picks of the year. And one to pencil into our little notepads for next year. How many times and when does Gold Coast play against West Coast? Because every time it happens, Matthew Rao goes absolutely massive in KFC SuperCoach, and he did it again on Friday night in the second game of that doubleheader, racking up 165 KFC SuperCoach points. Now, he's played the Eagles, he's played 4 full games against them. He had 1 game where he got injured in the first couple of minutes, but if we take that out, his scores against the Eagles across his entire career, 172, 157, 101, and then 165. So every time he plays them, we know he's going to score an absolute stack of KFC SuperCoach points. He had 29 disposals and 17 tackles on Friday night. Now, that's 4 tons in the past 5 rounds for him, a 5-round average of 118. Obviously, that massive score this week really contributes to that, but he's going pretty well. He's not super expensive if you need a midfielder, and Gold Coast do have a really friendly buy. Timmy English was one of the hottest players in KFC SuperCoach, possibly the hottest player in the first 5 or 6 rounds of the season. Had that incredible run of scores over 130 points in the first 6 weeks, but the spell has been broken a little bit in the past 3 with scores of 90, then he 124, and then just 88 against the Blues on Saturday night. The Doggies got the win, but just the 16 disposals for English, and he was actually beaten in the hitouts to advantage by Mark Pitton, 17-5. So pretty good win there for the Blues ruckman. I'm not too worried about English, but he has dropped back in price a little bit, down to 622,000. He's got a break even of 143 this week, so he's going to get a little bit cheaper again. I'm not sure who's going shopping in the ruck. We're going to have some good options there when the dual position players come in, but a bit of a quiet one for Timmy English. Rookies have been really tricky to get right over the past few weeks. There haven't been a heap of options to choose from. That's why 33,000 coaches went early, trading in Blake Drury from the Kangaroos after his first game. Always a little bit of a risk, and this is what can happen. Scored just for 17 points in game 2. Just 7 disposals, 4 effective, 1 free kick against. So the key thing is we just need him to stay in the team. Not too many had him on the field, thankfully, but we're really relying on him getting games to at least give some kind of cover on the bench, and people who didn't trade him in last week will be wanting to hopefully get him this week to free up some cash to go and buy some premiums. So all comes down to Clarko and what they do at selection. The Kangaroos do have a few injuries and maybe some suspensions as well, so fingers crossed Blake Drury is in the team this week.